Hey everyone, welcome back to Pulp Hero Audio. In today's video, I want to do a bit of a review and offer you a recommendation, as I'm going to discuss Marvel Comics' latest iteration of the comic book, The Savage Sword of Conan. Now, I've talked a bit about Marvel's attempt to relaunch the Savage Sword of Conan title in a previous video. Now, my assessment there hasn't really changed. This latest attempt at Savage Sword, it was nothing particularly special or unique in the case of this relaunch. It wasn't in the oversized magazine style format, with that amazing black and white artwork that had made the classic Savage Sword title so unique and memorable. This latest version of Savage Sword was really just another standard comic book, with nothing that made it really stand out from the rest of the pack. Now, others must have felt kind of the same as I did, as you see sales slipping on Savage Sword, rather consistently, trailing as it trails its companion comic, Conan the Barbarian, with Marvel ultimately pulling the plug on the new Savage Sword after only 12 issues. Now, the first 5 issues, they were solid enough, with a story by writer Jerry Dugan, with respectable art by veteran artist Ron Garney, although it did suffer from some missteps, both in terms of story and art, which I won't get into any great detail on. Probably the strongest offering from the 12 issues was the Conan the Gambler story arc, written by Jim Zub, with art by Patrick Zurcher, that comprised issues 7 through 9, which I would recommend those purely as comic books. We even saw classic fan favorite writer Roy Thomas returned for issues 10 and 11, with some competent art by Alan Davis. But even Thomas's return to the title didn't pull Savage Sword out of its ongoing sales slump. And then issues 6 and 12 were basically just kind of forgettable standalone stories written by Meredith Finch and Frank Thierry, respectively, with their greatest strength being in the art by Luke Ross and Andrea DeVito. So, with all that being said, here's the thing, guys. I simply can't recommend these 12 issues enough. Seriously, go out and get Savage Sword of Conan 1 through 12. But why, you might ask? Based on my review there, they don't sound like particularly mind-blowing Conan comics, right? Well, that's true. But what is mind-blowing, guys, is an almost hidden treasure found in the back of these 12 comics. And that treasure is a 12-part serialized Conan prose novella written by fantasy author Scott Odin, entitled The Shadow of Vengeance. Now look, I've read a lot of Conan pastiches in my time, both in prose, comic books, you name it. Some of them range from just, absolutely abysmal to some being, pretty darn great. Well, let me tell you, Scott Oden's The Shadow of Vengeance ranks as some of the very best Conan pastiche prose that I have ever read. Now, I think we all know that when it comes to telling Conan yarns, no one is going to top his creator, Robert E. Howard. Unfortunately, unless some hidden underground vault is discovered in Cross Plains, Texas, containing heretofore never-seen Conan manuscripts by Howard, we're simply not ever going to get any new Howard stories. So, Oden's The Shadow of Vengeance is the next best thing. I mean, I have never seen a writer channel the voice of Robert E. Howard so well. I mean, Scott Oden has obviously studied Howard's Conan stories extensively. His tone, sentence structure, diction, vocabulary, you name it. It's all designed to echo Howard's style, Howard's voice. And Oden does it so well. So very well. I mean, it feels like a Howard story. Oden has crafted something very special. Okay? Something very special with this novella, The Shadow of Vengeance. Which, incidentally, serves as a direct sequel to Howard's Conan story, The Devil in Iron, which I hope to put together as an audio presentation very soon. So, you can read or listen to Howard's The Devil in Iron, and then jump right into Scott Oden's The Shadow of Vengeance, and they work very well together. So yes, that's what I'm saying, guys. Go out and get issues 1 through 12 of the newest Marvel Savage Sword of Conan comic book. I mean, get it on eBay, a comic shop. I know things are kind of funky right now with things being closed, but trust me, I think you can get them. You could buy them digitally, that kind of thing. Get those 12 issues of Savage Sword of Conan. Also, it must be the 12 individual comic book issues, as Oden's story has not been reprinted in the collected trade paperback graphic novels or in any other format at this time. So, if you're thinking, well, I'll save a little bit and go out and get the collected edition that has most of the issues together, and I'll get the story that way, I'm afraid that just won't work. The story is not to be found there. It's only, as of right now, it is only in those 12 individual comic book issues. Although I don't think it matters if it's print or digital at this point. Now, I would love to prove to you how good this story is by doing an audio presentation of The Shadow of Vengeance. But alas, it's a new story, so it's not in the public domain or anything like that. However, in fair use, I will leave you with a short passage from Scott Oden's The Shadow of Vengeance. So, here we go. Oden writes, and this is in Chapter 2, "This was Conan, a Cimmerian, and though he was resplendent in the gaudy finery of a hetman of this wastrel horde, from gilt-worked boots and wide breeches of emerald silk, to a scarlet brocaded sash supporting a scimitar in a shagreen scabbard, to an open shirt of white silk under a green calotte, slashed and embroidered in red. Nothing could disguise the hard lines of his physique. He was as lean and supple as a wolf, with a broad, powerful chest and sun-bronzed arms ridged and corded with muscle. The face that stared out from beneath the spired, turban-wrapped helmet was scarred and dark. Smoldering eyes as blue as the ice of his northern homeland moved restlessly, seeking friend and foe from among the pirates who knew him. All right, so I hope that very Howard-esque passage there from Scott Oden's The Shadow of Vengeance has whetted your appetite a little bit. And as in these strange times, a lot of us are stuck at home a lot more. So maybe you need some good reading material. So yeah, find a way to get those 12 issues of Savage Sword of Conan. And whether you choose to read the comics themselves or not is entirely up to you. But please flip back to the end of those issues and read that novella, The Shadow of Vengeance by Scott Oden. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you do that, hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I always appreciate that. And we'll talk to you later.